Hello everybody. For today's video, I am back in the kitchen and I thought that I would show you how I make a salad for my lunch. And this is going to be a little bit different salad than the other video that I created. This is more of a Mediterranean take on it. So here are all the vegetables and stuff that we need. And we have some mushrooms, some cilantro, some green peppers back here. I have sun-dried tomatoes, and I have regular cherry tomatoes. I have onion, some cucumbers, and a watermelon radish, which is completely awesome. And then we have a little balsamic vinegar and some pepperoni. So the first thing we need to do is wash off some of these vegetables. So I'm going to go to the sink and wash those off, and then we'll pick up from there. Okay, so here we are at the sink, and let me get a little bit of water going here. There, I just need a little trickle. And behind the camera here I have a plate with a paper towel on it. So, first thing I'll do is just wash off these vegetables really quickly. Don't need a lot, just a little. Things like the green pepper I had already washed and processed and cut from last week, so I don't need to wash those. These onions just need a quick rinse. We have a little vegetable market that's right down the street from the house. It just opened up about 6 months ago, and it is really convenient because I can just walk or ride my bike down there. I don't want that water to make too much noise, but there we go. Okay, so I'm going to wash off these tomatoes. When they're in the container like this, you can just kind of let the water run through the container. You don't realize how loud drains can be until you're trying to shoot a video. So just get the water in there. And this recipe takes a lot of tomatoes. Last time I used some Roma tomatoes and just cut them up. But I'm going to try these cherry tomatoes this time. See if they're a little less watery. With the larger tomatoes sliced and put into the salad. It's kind of like a salsa salad type thing. It was really watery. I'm going to see if using these cherry tomatoes will cut down on the liquid in the final product. I don't know if the sound of that water running through the drain is relaxing or not. I hope it is. Think of it like a little Zen fountain or something. Get the water in these holes here. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to quickly wash off these mushrooms. These are locally grown. They are absolutely amazing. They're grown probably about 30 miles from here maybe. up the road a bit. And so were the tomatoes and the watermelon radish. Okay, I think that's all of the washing off we need to do. Now we can go start making the salad. Okay, so here we have our cutting board. And the nice thing about this salad is, as you cut it, you can just put it all into one big bowl. And you don't have to worry about measuring things too precisely. So I'm going to move this bowl over here actually. Just like that. Okay. Now the first thing, we need to cut a lot of these tomatoes. So I'm just going to get started here. I take this salad to work and eat it at my desk. And when I used cherry tomatoes in my salads before, I thought, oh, this is simple. I'll just drop the tomatoes into the salad and eat them at work. Well, if you've ever eaten cherry tomatoes, you know that they can be quite explosive when you eat them. So after several explosive encounters with the tomatoes, trying to eat them, I now cut them in half because that way they don't explode. I think this is a pretty good idea. Sorry about that. Because already I can tell there's not as much moisture. Excuse me, being a spaz. There's not as much moisture being released by these tomatoes. I'm going to try one and see what they taste like. They're like candy. Very sweet. That's good. Okay. Now I'm hoping to get about 4 servings out of this. So that's why there's so many tomatoes and other ingredients. I usually take my lunch about 4 times a week. And usually there's another day where we either go out to lunch or something else ends up happening. So I plan on 4 days of lunches. And this is the second time I've made this. Made it last week. And the main reason I did was I was starting to get tired of my other salad. And I was starting to be unmotivated to take one. So I needed something that was still low calorie, did not have a lot of carbs, and was still delicious. Cut that little spot off there too. I seem to be bumping into things with my hands a lot today. Not very coordinated. Not sure why. I always like to sample the vegetables as I prepare them, just in case for some reason they don't taste all that great. Okay. can see that's quite a bit. My question is, do I need more? But I think I'm going to hold off, put some other things in here. I'll see the volume, and if I need to add some more tomatoes, I will. So let's process my onion. I also decided to put onions in my lunch because they add tremendously to the flavor. I don't want to add too many because I don't want to have super stinky breath. So that's why I add green onions like this instead of yellow onions. They tend to still have the oniony flavor, but without the strong onion aftertaste in your mouth. At least that's the theory. And you'll probably hear a train going by, and I apologize for that. But just think of it as ambiance from my neighborhood. Be glad it's not the roosters crowing. They do all day long. People think of roosters only crowing in the morning, and they certainly do that. But they also crow throughout the day. And they have two roosters, so they're in competition with each other. You can probably hear the train going by. It's very close, and it's going to be very loud here in a second. I'll probably cut that part out. Speaking of cutting things, doesn't sound too bad though. Sometimes it's really, really annoyingly loud. It's like somebody's car alarm going off. Okay. So there are the onions. Next we're going to put in the cilantro. And I know some people cannot stand cilantro, and I feel very sorry for them that they have such a bad taste in their mouth left over from cilantro, because I find it absolutely delicious. So I'm rolling it up and then just roughly chopping it into these pieces here. I wanted to kind of release the oils and infuse it. Because if you get a mouthful of cilantro, sometimes it can be too much. So chopping it up keeps you from getting really big portions of it in your mouth, because it's not like lettuce. And this is cilantro that I processed last week as well, so it's not quite as fragrant as it was when it was first chopped. So we'll put that in here. And it's looking very beautiful. Green and white and red. Very Italian. And next we will do the cucumber. And taste this to see. It's got a good flavor. The cucumber I used last week came straight from our garden out of our house. It was very nice. The cucumber is going to provide some of the bulk of this dish, kind of like the tomatoes. So I just want to cut it into rough cubes before I put it in. I didn't peel this. Hopefully it won't be too big of a problem. Sometimes the skins can be a little tough on cucumbers, but hopefully this won't be too bad. Okay, so let's move on here with our next piece. So I call this a salad. I think it's more like a really chunky salsa type. I'm sure it probably has a more technical name than that, but I don't know what it is. And again, please forgive my knife technique. If you are a chef, I'm sure you are, or any experience in the kitchen at all, you're probably cringing. But I think I do a pretty good job of keeping my fingers out of the way. As long as I don't cut myself in this video, we'll be good. I love cucumber. Always tastes like summer to me. Okay, so I need to get a spoon to mix this up. Fortunately, they're right here. Okay. And a weird slotted paddle here. Let's start mixing this up. This is a good volume. I think I'll be able to get 4 servings out of this easily. My goal is to have a salad that's around 300 to 400 calories. Oops, excuse me again, I keep making all kinds of, well, okay, let's move this over here. I think my knife is larger than I'm used to working with. I usually have a smaller knife. Maybe that's why I keep bumping it into things. Now I've never put mushrooms in this before, but I think it should be pretty awesome. Especially these shiitake mushrooms. Again, I'm just going to cut them into big chunks. So that when you bite into them, you know you've got some nice mushroom flavor there. I think this type of chopping is called rustic. Since I am not cooking any of this, I don't have to worry about all the slices being the same size. So they cook the same. And hopefully this being a little bit more low moisture salad, these mushrooms won't get all completely soggy. to soak up some of the juice. Shiitake is my favorite mushroom. I've tried the white button mushrooms in my salads before, but they just don't have much of a flavor. And you don't have much of a flavor, you kind of start to focus on the consistency of them. And that can be kind of weird, depending on the freshness of the mushroom. Okay. So the next ingredient, let's do some sun-dried tomatoes. These add a nice chewy texture. And more sweetness. Not as sweet as the cherry tomatoes, but almost kind of like a meat texture. Are kind of tough to cut sometimes. More mashing than anything. Okay. I think that's enough. Put those in there. Now let's put in some green pepper. Not a lot. Just some more for variety of flavor than anything. I use the green onion because the red and yellow peppers are more expensive. But I don't think the flavor is all that different. Okay, so let's give it another stir. Continue to mix all of this wonderful stuff together. It smells really good. I think the onions make this dish. Without them, it wouldn't be the same. Now this is a watermelon radish, and I won't cut this up on camera because I already have some cut up from the last time. And here's what it looks like inside. You can see why it's called watermelon radish. It's a kind of purple-red color on the inside with a green rind. And it has now started to rain. So if you hear rain, you know where that's coming from. It's not coming outside of your window. It's raining outside of mine. So the really nice mild radish flavor. Well, I say mild, not hot. Some radishes can be really spicy hot. This is a strong radish flavor, but not a strong hot heat that comes from it. You can tell it's a starchy root vegetable because when you cut the pieces, they want to stick together. And it adds a beautiful color if you care about the stuff. And sometimes I do. Okay. So we are nearly done with all of our ingredients. We have one more. Well, two more maybe. Now, if you were wanting this to be vegetarian, you'd obviously leave this part out, but this is hot caprese sliced Italian dry salami. And my diet that I am on, while it's not one that's like following a book or anything, I have limited my carbs, and that has helped me lose weight. That and reducing calories and exercising. But one of the things that has helped me do that is that I get more of my calories from protein than I get them from carbohydrates. So I always like to have some protein in my meals. And when you exercise, you need protein to build your muscles. So this is a very delicious way to get that protein. And this is going to be divided up over 4 different servings. So it adds a little bit of a kick, not too much. It says it's hot, but it's not super hot. It's an awesome flavor. Okay. So now, let's dig really far down in here. Make sure this is all mixed up really well. And before, you can see the side of the bowl here. When I chopped up the Roma tomatoes, there was already a lot of liquid that was sitting here in the bottom. So the next thing we need is some balsamic vinegar. I don't want to drown it, but I want to have enough to coat all the pieces. And the vinegar just adds a really nice bite, the zing to it all. I think it also kind of helps preserve it maybe a little bit. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's see. Perfect. Not enough vinegar to overwhelm the flavor of the individual components, but just enough to add to the flavor. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is take 2/4 of this, put it into these containers that I use for lunch, and I'll leave the other half in here for the other days. And that way, when I'm ready for work tomorrow, I just come in here and grab one of these, put the little ice block underneath it, keeps it nice and cool throughout the day. Since I have an office job, I really have to watch how many calories I consume, because while I exercise after work. Okay. I think that's good. So it's a nice quantity. Vegetables, some meat, all different types of flavors. Now last time I put a little bit of salt on there, but I don't think it needs it. And so that is my kind of Italian-inspired, Mediterranean type salad to take to work. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make this, and I hope that you make it yourself. It is fairly simple. It's just chopping things up and throwing them in a bowl and mixing them up. But yet it has some good substance and good bulk to it. So please subscribe to my channel. I have many more other types of videos that I do, including cooking videos and other types of things. And if you like it, click the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. I'd appreciate it. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time.